Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, Richard Mille, million-dollar mansions. At first glance, this might sound like the opening to a story about some oil sheikh. After all, we're used to the outrageous lives of ultra-millionaires flaunting their wealth on social media. But today's story has a very different flavor.
The FBI swarmed a luxury home in Miami in a raid connected to the theft of cryptocurrency.
On an unsuspecting Wednesday night, the FBI raided this waterfront mansion near Miami Shore's spooky neighbors.
They were taking down a multi-million-dollar cryptocurrency scam that netted $230 million.
Hello?
Good morning. I'm calling you from Google Customer Service. Your account data has just been compromised.
August 18, 2024. That apparently harmless call just received by a user in Washington didn't come from Google at all. On the other end of the line was an 18-year-old named Beer Chital, known online as Wiz, who was using a spoof number to pose as a Google employee. Beer convinced the unsuspecting victim that their personal accounts had been compromised. By creating this false sense of urgency, the teenager managed to gain access to the victim's Gmail and OneDrive, which contained all their personal account information. Shortly afterward, the same man receives a second call, this time from Jandiel Serrano, aka Box, a 21-year-old accomplice of Beer, posing as a representative of Gemini, the crypto exchange founded by the Winklevoss twins, which the victim used. Box convinces the man his account is under attack. Panicked and pressured to act fast to save his crypto, the victim resets his two-factor authentication, giving the scammers full access. Within moments, they drain his Gemini account, funneling all funds to a compromised wallet. The situation deteriorates by the second, yet the unsuspecting victim remains oblivious. When asked to install AnyDesk, a remote desktop software, the request seems like just another necessary step to secure his assets. In reality, it's the final blow. By unknowingly sharing his screen, the private keys to his Bitcoin wallets now lie in the hands of these scammers. With just a few clicks, his entire digital fortune is transferred to their control.
No way. No f***ing way.
I see it, bro. It's on the blockchain. It's on the blockchain, bro.
No way.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
In a private video, the scammers recorded their live reactions as 4,064 Bitcoin, worth approximately $230 million at the time of transfer, moved into their wallets. The excitement is palpable as they watch the flood of Bitcoin filling their accounts. While the money is now in their possession, they know their work isn't done yet. Exactly 17 minutes after the transfer, they spring into action to launder the Bitcoin. To obscure the stolen crypto from authorities, they split the Bitcoin into smaller amounts across 15 different exchanges, a tactic known as peel chains. The strategy breaks large transactions into smaller ones, making them harder to trace. The Bitcoin gets converted to Litecoin, the Litecoin traded for Ethereum, and finally, the Ethereum converted to Monero. This laundering process spans several days, with continuous swaps between cryptocurrencies to further bury the money trail.
Oh, I hate this fucking thing.
Wait! Don't. Here, do this E30.
How do I change the ETH?
Head to the top right, the settings bar. Settings. Dark!
Here!
No, not that. Like the swap settings. Set custom recipient.
Oh, you're worried about me keeping it?
No, I'm keeping it all in one addy.
Joking, bro.
If you ether scan it, like this, all my ether's in there. No, bro, what the hell? Do 998.
Yo, estimated time. I don't want to know how much time, bro.
Alright, bro, you're so horrible.
You can't.
Bro, I'm clearly fucking busy, Caleb. Planning a heist.
You can check yourself, you moron.
I'm not taking your money. Go fuck yourself.
Me dude.
What's that F balance he's got looking like?
Within days, all the stolen money had been laundered and was ready to spend. The day before the heist, the trio had already been planning how to splurge their newfound fortune, exchanging Telegram links to high-end luxury brands like Philippe Plein, Louis Vuitton, and Givenchy. While most of the group played it safe, keeping a low profile and resisting the urge to flash their illicit wealth, one member broke ranks, Lam Malone, a young man from Singapore. 20-year-old Lam Malone, now in Los Angeles with his stolen fortune, wastes no time diving headfirst into the lavish lifestyle he'd always fantasized about. Suddenly, everything he'd previously seen only through his smartphone screen was within reach, ready to become his new reality. Nightclubs became his second home, with Lam hitting a different VIP venue almost nightly, dropping absurd amounts on bottle service and exclusive sections. His bar tabs reached staggering sums, sometimes exceeding $500,000 in a single night. The club crowds couldn't help but take notice of this big-spending newcomer. He quickly becomes the life of the party. Wherever Malone goes, crowds know the drinks will flow freely. He tosses money in the air like a rock star and gifts DJs champagne bottles worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. In one outrageous display, a DJ receives a $2,000 tip plus every unopened bottle left in the club from the night before.
And there's like 20 bottles of full alcohol.
His name flashes across the neon club signs as DJs scream it through the speakers, commanding the entire nightclub's attention.
Welcome home, Malone. Take this here $100,000 in bottles right now. Malone! 70 bottles, Malone! Jesus! Malone, this is next level.
But as fun as Los Angeles is, it isn't enough to satisfy his craving for notoriety. He needs more attention and more luxury. That's why Malone charters a private jet bound for Miami. There, he takes his wild spending to the next level. In Miami, Malone rents a beachfront villa, not just any house, but a $10.5 million property. With over 8,600 square feet, ceilings more than 23 feet high, 10 bedrooms, and an enormous pool with a hot tub, the estate features 2 grand front gates leading to a garage, set behind a wide driveway lined with expensive supercars and luxury vehicles, some costing over $3 million. Malone purchases more than 20 vehicles, including a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, with Malone scripted along the bottom of the door, and a pink Urus intended to win back his ex, an effort that ultimately fails. Of course, Malone also acquires high-end designer pieces from brands like Louis Vuitton and Givenchy. Among his purchases is a Moncler Palm Angels jacket Maglia 70, worth over $15,000. And he delves into high jewelry, buying diamond-encrusted bracelets, multiple Richard Mille watches, diamond-rimmed sunglasses, and a ring for each of his fingers. But wearing and buying things for himself isn't enough. He needs to win others' favor too. That's why he buys 5 Birkin bags, each costing several $1,000s, and gives them to random girls at clubs, including adult content creator Skybree and model Olivia Hallen.
I can't even make this shit up when I say that I just woke up to a Birkin in my bedroom because a man gave it to me in the club last night. I was like, I can't even make this up. I can't. This is your sign to go clubbing.
Me and my 2 girlfriends walk over to the section, and this kid, I'm gonna refer to him as like a kid. I mean, he was definitely over the age of 18 or 21, hopefully, because he was at the club, but he looked pretty young. He comes towards me and he's like, I got this for you. And he hands me the box that this is in. It came in like the actual Hermes box. It's downstairs in my kitchen. I don't feel like bringing it up, but he opens it and he was like, do you like it? And I was like, yeah, I do, but like, is it real? And he was like, of course it's real. Like, it's for you. You can have it, and just walks away.
While Malone is busy building his name by flaunting his newfound wealth in every possible way, he's gradually attracting the exact kind of attention no one would want. His reckless spending, paired with his craving for fame, makes it alarmingly easy for authorities and blockchain experts to trace him. Investigators begin closely monitoring the flow of stolen crypto, tracking his every move as he splurges on cars, nightclubs, and luxury clothing. The more he spends, the clearer it becomes that this fortune, which appeared out of nowhere, is somehow linked to the theft. Soon, the net that law enforcement has been weaving around him would start to close. Malone believes he's covered his tracks well and is untouchable, but behind the scenes, law enforcement is starting to connect the dots. Investigators traced the large transactions linked to the stolen Bitcoin, analyzing the blockchain to track the movement of those funds. Both Box and Wiz made fatal mistakes during the laundering process. On multiple occasions, they accidentally tied the stolen funds to their personal assets. Wiz even revealed his full name during a screen recording. Box reused personal wallets, making it easier for investigators to trace the funds back to them. These errors, combined with recorded conversations, paint a clear picture of their criminal activities. By mid-September 2024, the FBI, along with other authorities, had gathered enough evidence to act. On September 19th, federal agents raided Malone's Miami villa, arresting him amid the opulent luxury he had acquired with the stolen fortune. Shortly before, Serrano was also arrested at a villa in California, which he had been renting for nearly $48,000 a month.
The government says it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Authorities took Malone Lam into custody. At the same time, the FBI arrested Jandiel Serrano in Los Angeles. They say he's connected to the same investigation. They're charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to launder money.
We have boom. And, we thought that was a shooting in the neighborhood. And we saw a lot of police. This was something that never happened in this neighborhood. Most of the time was a lot of party. It was party because I can hear from my house the music. And but this is a real nice house. It's like a mansion.
Malone is taken away in handcuffs. Authorities managed to freeze over $9 million from the stolen funds, and $500,000 are immediately returned to the victim. However, a significant portion of the stolen crypto remains locked in several wallets. The equivalent of $21 million is held in a Box wallet, $39 million are tied up in a Veer Chital wallet, and $4 million remain untouched in a wallet belonging to Malone. But what happened to the supercars, the luxury items, and all the other purchases made by the guys? After the arrest of Malone and Serrano, the US government confiscated all assets owned by the two. All these assets will be auctioned off, and the money raised will be used partly to compensate the theft victim and partly to cover the costs of the investigation and legal proceedings. Usually, in such cases, victims recover around 60% of what was stolen from them. But in this case, it could be even worse. Following Malone's arrest, 3 of the cars purchased by the young man were transported to Los Angeles. 2 of these, the Revuelto and the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, show visible damage. The Revuelto was significantly damaged in the front section, while the 911 has dents in the rear, suggesting the first car rear-ended the second. Naturally, this type of damage significantly reduces the auction value of these cars, thereby greatly diminishing the amount the theft victim can recover. The same applies to the seized luxury items, such as the Richard Mille watches, which will be auctioned to compensate the victim and cover the costs of the investigation. As for the reckless spending in nightclubs, that money is practically gone. When you spend over $500,000 in a single night on bottles and VIP services, the clubs are not held responsible and do not have to return the money, especially since they had no idea the funds were stolen. Unfortunately for the victim, most of the money the guys spent on clubs and private jets is lost forever. Who the actual mastermind behind the theft is remains unclear, but besides these 3 individuals, 2 others are likely involved in helping them launder the funds. The investigation is still ongoing. Malone and Serrano are in jail awaiting trial. The former, charged with theft and money laundering, faces up to 20 years in prison for each charge. If you're wondering how someone in possession of $230 million in Bitcoin could have been so easily scammed by a group of young people, well, you're not the only one.